What is going on? Takedown, Ricky, Justin, Richard, Sean, Mark, Al Money, Jordan, Wardo, Lyle, William, Charlie, I think I already said, Mark, put me in coach, and my man, Hebrewcheetah, also known as Rio. How are we doing today?
Doing good. Still under the weather, but we're pushing through. Ready to talk some hoops with you. Looks like a decent slate, small one, so should get through this pretty quickly. Yeah, they could have just left that Sacramento and Golden State game off personally, but we got the 2-hour window in between the 6 p.m. game, 6 p.m. my time, and then the 8 p.m. game. So it'd be nice to have that little break. Probably gonna hit the jacuzzi.
Nice. Yeah, that'll make you feel a little better. You've been drinking a lot of tea over there.
I had some bone broth last night. No tea.
Okay. Sauna steam room? I know you haven't, but you should.
I know. Yeah, I need to get in there.
Yes, you do. What else? Who else is in here? Smitch is in here. What's up? Gangrene in here. Jake's in here. Yep, time to get that cash is right. Jose, John in here. Appreciate everyone hanging out. Of course, all we ask, like button, subscribe button. You guys know the drill by now. 5 games, like you said. 4 of them locked within this first hour window. Then we have the game on Island, 10 p.m. Eastern. Only one big spread. 13.5 points favorites are the Pistons. Game totals all pretty similar. Any broad slate overview injury report, pretty much as little as you'll ever see, which is nice. Any thoughts, broad slates with those Q tags, anything before we go game by game?
Yeah, I mean, there's not a ton of implications in these games tonight from like a playoff standpoint. Kind of starting to get to that point of the season where the games start to mean a lot more. I guess you could say the Sacramento Golden State game does mean a lot, more so for Sacramento, but Golden State been playing pretty well. There's still 4 games ahead of Sacramento. So I'm obviously sure that, they would want to win. These teams don't really like each other. You got the Draymond and Sabonis beef dating back for the last few years. But yeah, I guess I don't know. I did say pre-show that Luka is going to be in, but you look at the Lakers schedule, they have one of the toughest schedules for the rest of the season. So definitely not a good time for them to not have LeBron, but they play Denver tomorrow. So traveling, it's a back-to-back traveling into Denver. You got to imagine that Luka is sitting one of these 2 games. That's what I would think. It would make more sense for him to play against Denver since I believe. Let me just check the standings really quick, but they're right there. Yeah, so they're 3-4. I mean, that game definitely means a lot more. This is a nationally televised game against Milwaukee, so we'll have to see. But yeah, I would think that they want to have Luka for tomorrow versus today.
We should get that news before lock. 7:30 Eastern. Again, this is Mountain Time. Lock at 7 Eastern. The spread kind of indicates that he definitely is not very likely, but it's a very real chance he could sit. I mean, I feel like 7 points with Luka and Reeves against the Bucks. I feel like that is a little too much, assuming Luka does play. Maybe it's 8.5 if Luka doesn't. Any thoughts on that, or do you think the Bucks are 7-point favorites against a LeBron-less Lakers team?
I mean, I'd have to lean on you for that because you're the Milwaukee guy, but I kind of think that if Luka,
that's a lot of points.
Yeah, that's kind of what I think too. Because they are getting Dorian Finney-Smith back. That may not seem like much, but that's probably their best defender. So definitely means a lot for the Lakers. So yeah, I would kind of lean it's probably 50-50 Luka sits.
Yeah, bro. What do you have a guess, Rio?
I feel like the answer is probably no.
No, I don't. What is going on? All right. Of course, we're sharing Saberson over here. Angry, you got me dying. Oh, that is the most random thing I've. Oh, is that what people are asking? I have socks on too.
Wardo has just said it randomly in Discord after I posted the slate plan. He just said, "How are you feeling? Are you wearing socks? It's cold."
What? Do you have socks on?
I got socks on. I always got socks on.
Oh shit, Wardo. Yeah, I think we go just first game and just keep it rolling again. 7 Eastern, 7:30, 8, 10 Eastern, 2-hour window there. We are screen sharing SaberSim. Like always, you guys know the drill, but looking at the packages, the best value, the starter package, gets you 500 lineups, contest flashbacks, saw people messing around with that in our Discord. Projections ownership for SaberSim, even on the sports we don't offer. And then 350 additional lineups to what you get for the core package. If you do want to try the core out, $99. Starter $129, of course, all includes our content. Then the ultimate, if you're playing a couple $100 a week, maybe you want to try the Sims, $297 for the first month, then $329 21 also allows you to build 5,000 lineups. Let's get right into this first game. Looking right at the Pistons and the Wizards. Again, 13.5-point favorites are the Pistons. By far the biggest favorite on the slate. 234 total in this one. Injuries on the Washington side. No Koulibaly. That is it for them. As far as Detroit, a fully healthy team. So usually when we're talking fully healthy teams this late, it's not a game I want to target much. Obviously, 5-game slates. Things change a little bit, but we can see a handful of guys getting double-digit ownership. By no means, though, is this like the chalk game of the slate. Cade at 10-3. This is pretty much the same slate as we had recently, hey? Like Giannis up there and then Cade. Are we going back to Cade? What do you like in this one?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely can make the case for Cade. Talked about it last time these teams played, where the defense for the Wizards is going to get a lot worse over the course of the season, especially against guards and just like lead offensive players on the opposing team, because Bilal Coulibaly, they just announced, is going to be done for 4 to 6 weeks, which essentially is the rest of the season. So we saw Cade had a bounce back game last time out, had a solid outing, 54.5 DK points with a double-double, shot the ball well, was two rebounds shy of the triple-double. So you could definitely go back to Cade. Like, I have no issues there. The Detroit has a lot to play for right now, so they're not going to play these guys 36 minutes if they're up by like 15, 20 points, 6 minutes less left in the game. Like, they'll definitely get those backups out there. We saw that last game. I mean, yeah, there's a good chance that they get blown out again here, the Wizards. So I don't like the Wizards. For me, pretty much a full X out. I'll say the same thing I said last time. I only really want to keep the guys in my player pool that are like off-ball shooting guys. So that would be like the Keyshawn George, Justin Champagnie, Corey Kispert guys. Champagnie should start. I think that he kind of slots in for Bilal moving forward. I mean, he's honestly not very good at basketball. He shot 2 for 8 from the field. But he did play 31 minutes, so like it doesn't matter if you're good or bad as long as you're playing minutes. That is kind of enough for me to consider you. Solid rebounder, was 2 rebounds shy of a double-digit boards. Had 9 the game before that. So those would be the only guys for Washington for me. And then Detroit, like I said, Cade, I think he's a totally fine spin-up option. Really like the matchup for him. Duren is starting to get priced up. I have a lot of concerns here just with the price, the spread. And the Pistons' willingness to run Isaiah Stewart out there for longer rotations. Like, I still think that he could put up a big game in 26, 28 minutes, but you are asking for like a pure run out for him. Like, he's got to be extremely efficient on the minutes that he's out there. Obviously, can do it, has done it before, but it's a premium price tag we're paying for Jalen Duren. I don't mind Tobias Harris though, 5.9K. Like we said, he's always getting there. Like 30 DK points on this slate would probably be okay. I mean, there's some pretty solid value options tonight, so we don't need to go there. But 30 to 34 from Tobias at 5.9K is well within the range of outcomes, and I think that is would be pretty solid for him at that price tag. As far as the secondary guys, though, it's pretty much just Beasley and Schroeder for me. I'm probably be max 1 of I would probably just max 2 Detroit tonight. But yeah, I mean, I like Beasley and Schroeder a little bit. Definitely prefer Beasley. The Wizards are one of the worst 3-point defense in the league. I believe they're bottom 3 in 3-point defense this season. I don't know if Little Nick is here. You have to remind me what the chart was that he posted late night in Discord, but basically shows that Beasley has been one of the best catch and shoot guys in the league this season, attempting some of the most threes per game and making the highest percentage. So he's just been crushing. Huge fan of Malik Beasley. And then Schroeder is just, he's cheap, 4.7K. There's some really good options in that same range at the same position that I prefer over him, but I'm not going to X him by any means.
You would go max 1 Stuart Duren today, like you did on Tuesday, that was?
Yep. Yeah. I'm almost always doing that. Like, I just don't – it worked out well because I think Stewart
did well.
Stewart did well, and Duren did fine, but he didn't pay off what you needed. You would have rather played, like, Stewart and I believe Jared Allen was on that slate or something like that.
Yeah, the thing is, like, locking up 2 center positions, if one is power forward and on a really small slate, even though they don't share the court, like, maybe some slates you can get away with it being both center locking up. It definitely is tough to do. When Rio said, like, he wouldn't want any more than 2 Pistons, the easy way to do that right here at Team Stacks, this is saying, like, 2 players on the team, 3 players on a team, 4 players, etc. So he said no more than 2. So I left 2 available. I unclick 3, 4, 5, 6. Obviously, if you're playing 150, I don't think I would go that strongly with my rule. But if you want to follow Rio's lead, if you have the core package, the starter package, where you're able to only build 500 teams, which is a lot, 150, 500 is definitely a lot more than 150. The less teams you're able to build, the more direct I would tell SaberSim what to do, even though they do negatively correlate in the back end. But you don't want 3 Pistons? Tell SaberSim you don't want 3 Pistons in any lineup. So you do know the lineups it does give you, it'll look more how you want it to be. Yeah, definitely not a good game to target. Someone said, can you like fade it on FanDuel? Can you fade on DraftKings? Yeah, both sites, it's not looking like much ownership, as you can see right there. So let's move it on to a better game, one that will depend a lot on injury news, though. Milwaukee Bucks, 7-point favorites over the Los Angeles Lakers, 224 total. Injuries in this one for the Lakers. Obviously, Luka's questionable. No LeBron, no Jackson Hayes. On the Bucks side, no injuries to talk about there. Obviously, again, so much dictates on Luka. Hopefully, we get that news. It's only 30 minutes after lock. Sorting by ownership in this. And again, I do have the average from SHIPIT Nation and SaberSim, something you're able to do on the starter and the ultimate. I don't believe the core package, but I'm not 100% sure. But we're taking the average 50-50 right there. If you want to aggregate it, that I do know has to be done on the ultimate. You add a weighted average. You're able to do it that way. Reeves, he's looking to probably be him, and if Luka plays, him and Luka will be the highest owned plays on the slate, or highest owned plays in this game. I don't even think it's close. Giannis, he's getting some, but pretty interesting. 300 cheaper than Luka, yet projected to be lower owned if Luka does play. Brook Lopez, you've always liked him as well. He's on pretty solid low ownership. I think he's pretty interesting. What else do you like?
Yeah, I mean, assuming that Luka plays, this game should be a pretty fun one. Close enough spread, nationally televised game. So we should see those minutes get pushed up a little bit more. Saw Luka play, was it 41, 42 minutes against the Nets the other night. Reeves got up there as well. Both those guys just shot it terribly. But this should be a good spot for them. Always like attacking the Bucks with guards, and that definitely does not change here. Lakers, going to be without, like you said, LeBron, Rui, and Jackson Hayes, but they're getting Dorian Finney-Smith back to make things a little bit better for them on the defense. So in the first game without LeBron, Luka did Luka things, put up a triple-double in the loss, played 41 minutes, was super efficient shooting the ball, 8 for 26 from the field, but still was able to salvage that with the triple-double from a fantasy perspective, put up 62.5 DK points there. Yeah, love the matchup for him. So if he's in, I think he's a great option. Bucks are bottom 6 in pick and roll defense this season. Luka, one of the top pick and roll scorers, so nothing to worry about there from a matchup perspective. And then Austin Reeves, you're getting a $4,500 discount going down from Luka to Reeves. So I definitely think from a point per dollar perspective, he's much better. He shot the ball horribly as well, 3 for 14 from the field. I don't think that he even made a field goal attempt until he missed like 10 or 11, something like that, but did get to the free throw line 11 times, made 10 free throws, put up a double-double, was 2 rebounds shy of triple-double. And then in 4 games without LeBron this season, averaging 52.1 DK points per game. Matchup is probably better than him. I think he's kind of probably one of the first guys you're clicking on in single entries, in my opinion. And then dropping down to the next range. Yeah, it's interesting. We just got to see what they're going to do with the rotation. Dorian Finney-Smith should be back in the starting lineup. I don't know who they're going to start at center. It was Alex Len last game. But, I mean, I think that I don't know, it might be Vanderbilt, just because I think that he provides a lot more defensively in this in this matchup than what they would need from Alex Len, because Brook Lopez, you're not worried about him scoring much around the basket. He actually did pretty good last game against the Pacers, but that's not really his game. He's going to be hanging around the 3-point line. And I just think that Vanderbilt and DFS kind of match up better with Giannis 100%. And Brook Lopez.
They need him so much more. Athletic, move your feet. They'd be foolish to play Alex Len. JJ Redick's better than that.
Yeah, for sure. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. Even if Alex Len's starting, it's going to be the just sacrificial lamb. Maybe go out there.
Off.
Yeah, exactly.
3 minutes.
It'll be I don't even know how many minutes he played in his first start, but he's going to go out there and probably just commit a couple hard fouls on Giannis and then probably be done for the game. I don't think that DFS or Vando are really great fantasy plays. If I had to choose one, it's probably Vanderbilt, just because he can do a little bit more. He's very active on defense, can have some of those spike steals and block games. And he's probably one of those guys that the Bucks would be okay leaving open. Okay, 3-point shooter, really good from the corner. So I don't mind Vanderbilt, but I don't love it in particular. Same thing with Gabe Vincent. He should start. He played 34 minutes last game, was really good, but I don't know. I'm not really a believer in him. If I had to choose one of these value plays, like Jordan Goodwin at 3.6K, I think that he is going to provide what they need defensively in this matchup against Damian Lillard. And he was really good last game, 24 minutes off the bench, 6 for 8 from the field, 8 rebounds, 17 points, 30.5 fantasy points. So he'd be my top option in from those value guys on the Lakers, and then really like Luka and Reeves tonight. But everybody does. You're not getting that past anybody. On the Bucks side, let me connect really quick. I forgot to mention him because I do think that he's kind of sneaky. He played 41 minutes last game. I don't know if he started. I have to double check, but I feel like he did. But
I'll check for you.
Yeah, he took 18 shots in that game. Only shot 3 for 9 from 3-point range. But anytime somebody's taking that many shots, you got to have some interest. And I do think that what he provides in this matchup is kind of what they need. Like they're going to need guys that are going to be launching threes, and I think that he would match up pretty well here. Been playing a lot better lately since the whole trade fiasco thing.
He played the whole first quarter, and then 2 minutes into or I guess like a little over a minute into the second quarter before his first break, and then he played pretty much the whole first quarter or third quarter, pretty much the whole fourth quarter. Wow.
Yeah. So I kind of like connect a little bit. I
like it. Don't you always say Milwaukee struggles against 3-point?
That's normally they've been a little bit like shaky with their rim protection, like in the middle portion of the season. But just normally they're going to be a team that gives it more threes, just because they have Giannis and Brook Lopez down low. Like it's tough to score on them.
Giannis was hurt for some of that period, I think, when you said they were getting killed down low too. So that makes sense.
Yeah, I think Did Brook miss a couple of those games? I don't know if he did, but I know that Bobby Portis was out there. Portis is not necessarily the best defender. They're more of a 3-point funnel, just naturally under Doc Rivers.
Yeah, makes sense.
I think Connect is a guy that is worth sprinkling. You're probably even if he has a good game, I don't know if it's going to be enough to win a tournament because he is almost 5K. But if he gets you like 30, 35, I think that'd be enough. Like he'd be low owned enough for it to kind of shoot you up the leaderboards a little bit. Switching over to the Bucks side, I don't really have anything to say about Giannis. Like it's Giannis. Obviously, he's been playing, kind of poor lately. I think that he should have smashed in the matchup against the Pacers like he normally does, but they had a pretty good game plan against him. Lakers have been really good with the rim protection. I remember mentioning this a couple of weeks ago when Jackson Hayes was kind of the guy they were rolling with after the Davis trade. Like all I heard around the industry, not to throw people under the bus, but it was like, oh, Jackson Hayes, we got to attack the Lakers now. That Jackson Hayes sucks on defense, but I have to find the graphic. But he's been really good, actually. Obviously, he's not playing tonight, so it doesn't really matter. But just wanted to shout out your guy, Jackson Hayes, because he's actually been playing really good defensively, filling in for Anthony Davis. So I don't really have anything to say about Giannis. Obviously, if you can get to him, you probably should. 11.7K is a fair price tag for him. This is the first time that he's played the Lakers this season, but last year put up 76.5 and 82.8 DK points in his 2 games. I don't know. The minutes haven't really he's not playing a ton like we're used to seeing. We're normally seeing him get to 36, 37, 38.
He hasn't got there in 2 weeks.
Yeah, they've been really easing him
3
back.
weeks. That's scary.
Yeah.
Like Wardo says, on a slate, if you are competing against Luka, Paulo, Franz, Cade's not as scary, but mid-tier, I guess. You want 65 when you play him. That is nervous. And if last year what he did, pretty much don't even look at it. JJ Redick, I do respect as someone that is trying to scheme to stop a Giannis and make others beat you. Where not every coach, I don't know, Stan. What did Redick say? He hardly slept or whatever. For ahead of the Nuggets game or something. This dude's gonna try and take away Giannis.
Yeah, for sure. I think that he'd probably be able to draw up a pretty good game plan like they did against the Nuggets because Jokic had one of his worst games of the season. And they could kind of play it the same way. They did a lot of it was kind of like a loose zone, but they were just fronting him a lot. So it just made it really tough to get him the ball. Giannis is obviously a different player than Jokic, and he can dribble and get past guys. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I still think Giannis is good enough to beat whatever schemes they throw at him. But like you said, it is a little bit worrisome. Not like the minutes have been.
Ham doesn't think so.
Oh, I thought you were going to comment on that. But so yeah, Dame, I think, is kind of an interesting pivot off of Giannis. If you are looking to get into this game, he hasn't really been great lately, kind of underwhelming from a fantasy point perspective. Hasn't topped 42 DraftKings points in 3 straight games, but the minutes are still there, playing 35, 37 in each of those games. I like attacking the Lakers with guards. Nothing has changed there. I think it is probably even better with Luka out there because I don't think Luka is the greatest defender. And I don't really think like Gabe or Jordan Goodwin are lockdown defenders by any means. They are definitely better than what they have. But yeah, I think that just with this being a nationally televised game, probably getting those minutes up there, it's like the 37, 38 minutes range. And 9K is a pretty good price tag for Dame. So yeah, I like Damian Lillard. Not better than Giannis, but if I wasn't playing Giannis, I'd probably be considering Dame. You guys already know I'm not playing Kuzma. Yeah, Brook Lopez, I'm totally fine going to him again. And I think that he's a pretty sharp pivot because looking at the center range, you got Claxton and Wendell Carter Jr. a little bit cheaper, but they're getting, a combined like 60% ownership where Brook Lopez is going to be in like the 5 to 6% range again. Played a lot of minutes last game. I think we're going to see him play a lot again tonight. Just he shot the ball really well, 35.75 DK points. Wasn't like a great fantasy outing, but all you need to do is just outscore Claxton and Wendell Carter Jr. from a point per dollar perspective, which I definitely think he can. The Lakers do allow right around 2 blocks per game, which is like the 5th or 6th most. So there's definitely still upside for Brook Lopez, and Lakers can be a little bit worse against 3-point shooters. And if they run that same defensive scheme against like they did against Jokic, like you remember, I think Aaron Gordon had a huge game that night. I have to double check, but they just left him open. They're going to leave one of these lesser players open. So Brook Lopez would be one of those guys, and then Taurean Prince would be another one of those guys. Like he's been playing a ton of minutes lately, shot the ball really well. Just
revenge.
Dame, yeah, a little revenge spot for him too. He's played for like 8 teams, hasn't he?
Yeah, probably. Lakers was one of the most recent, if not the most recent.
Was he there when they won the championship?
I don't know. Now you're getting too complex for me. Yeah, it was Lakers 2023, 2024 though. So it was right before the Bucks and the T-Wolves before that. So no.
Yeah. But yeah, like they're gonna choose, like they'll be okay leaving guys like Prince and Brook Lopez open. Like if those are the guys that beat them, as long as it's not Giannis and Dame, I think that the JJ Redick and the Lakers would live with that. So I'm kind of fine going back to Taurean Prince. I'm not going back to. I didn't really play much of him the last game, but I'm not Xing him out. Like I'll probably sprinkle him in a handful of lineups that have like Reeves and Luka, or like Reeves.
I like it.
Somebody else.
I like that call. And I like the Brook pivot too. Like you said, Wendell and Claxton. Can't recall there has been some, but recently where 2 centers really dominated this much of the center ownership. Plenty will play both of the centers as well, but it's those 2, and then it's pretty much like some will go Stewart, Duran. There's other guys, but those 2 by far, at least one of them will make up, what do you think, 90% of lineups in the flagship or in like single entry?
Yeah, 100%. Like, not 100%, but
100% to the 90%, but 95% to the 90%. I guess. Yeah. Keep going though. If you got anything left on the Bucks side.
That was kind of it. Like I'll just mention Gary Trent Jr. really quick because he did kind of get minutes in the 4th quarter over Kyle Kuzma. I don't think there's enough upside there for him. Just low usage guy, off ball. Like he's not going to add much outside of just launching a bunch of threes. But that just is another kind of feather in the cap to fading Kyle Kuzma. It's just I just can't believe people were playing him at 6.5K.
Yeah. I was a donkey and was running way behind on stuff. There's so much news yesterday. So I did a little my process, but I let SaberSim take over too. Ended up with like 25% Najee Marshall, maybe 30.
Bro, I did it again too.
You did it too? I literally thought I didn't have time to really dial in. I tried to do FanDuel, DraftKings, Cash, just too much on the plate. Never. I was looking at those teams. In the 1st quarter, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
But I was like, come on, that is not. But I got some Darren Fox when I otherwise wouldn't have if I looked. I still lost money, but hey, it goes every single way. I wanted to shout out. I got really nothing more to add in that Bucks-Lakers game. A lot depends on Luka. I hope he plays. I think him and Reeves are awesome. I prefer Luka over Giannis if picking. I think Dalton Connect is interesting. The Vanderbilt, like you said, I think they have to go athleticism. Then Bucks side, I love the Brook pivot. I like the Prince call. What about KPJ? Is this a game where you can see KPJ get an extra couple minutes? He always can get hot.
I mean, there's nothing that really like. I don't see a reason
that's going to happen.
Yeah, I looked at his name and I was just like, he's just kind of like one of those like the guys that DJN says like, or he could. I mean, he put up a triple double. It was funny. Like that was the day that I tweeted something like imagine buying tickets to the Milwaukee and Dallas game, thinking you're going to get Luka versus Giannis, but really it's going to be Max Christie and Spencer Dinwiddie versus Jericho Sims and Kevin Porter Jr. And then Kevin Porter Jr. had a triple double.
Well, he's a hooper.
He is.
Yeah, there is nothing to like when he's on the court, his usage will be there. But that's why I was hoping you'd say couple extra minutes. Give me 21 minutes on this slate. I'll take some chances. I would take some chances.
Yeah, I don't know like where I don't know where they would come from. But also you're just like comparing him to what is a pretty strong point guard and just overall guard options tonight. So I don't know if I could play him over any of the guys that we're going to be talking about.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I wanted to always shout out our Discord. I mean, I love, if you like to laugh, just being in there PGA morning or the first 3 hours, always a comedy session. I absolutely love it. But what also I want to shout out, our man Smarty. Like, we don't offer a college basketball product. As you can see up here, it's March. So, I mean, college basketball is always on my screen. I love betting on it. I love everything about March. Smarty is one of the sharper guys out there, college football and college basketball. We do have portions in the Discord. I'm in there asking Smarty, yo, do you like this? What are your sports betting? Right now, Wisconsin's looking good. Got some Ole Miss money line. It's been a good day so far. And I've tailed Smarty the past couple weeks. Not on every pick. He does DFS, Hammock as well, college football guy. I saw him took second in the college basketball qualifier. He grinds college basketball. Definitely some sharp guys. Tennis, Pickett. We have other sports that we don't offer as a product. No one's paying for it. But we do have Discord channels. And again, the good thing about SaberSim as well, not that. Well, I can get to that too. SHIPIT Nation and SaberSim versus having 4 subscriptions will save you a lot of money and allow you to play more in your contest. But if you do have the starter pack or more, again, projections, ownership, 11 plus sports, you get that for SaberSim. So if I don't know off the top of my head if they have tennis, if they have college basketball. They do have 5 additional sports that we do not offer, though. You do get that with the starter pack, even if we don't have it. Rio, do you know off the top of your head what the sports are?
They have both. They have both tennis and basketball. Yep. Do
you know the other 3 by chance? League of Legends, I'm almost positive is one, which is big. Sheets crushes it. I was a League of Legends addict, and the COVID time, literally staying up all morning watching. Do you know the other 2 by chance?
I mean, they have NASCAR.
We have NASCAR too, though. I know that. There's 2 other ones outside of that.
They have Counter-Strike, CS2, and Call of Duty. I think they have that stuff.
I know not Call of Duty. I don't know. They have templates for it, but I don't know if they offer actual projections. That's beside the point. They do have college basketball. They do have tennis. 2 awesome sports. We have them in the Discord. People are knowledgeable there. Can use your own insight into SaberSim with their stuff from behind and have fun with other sports as well. But yeah, I've been having fun betting college basketball. It's been good over here. Wanted to give a huge shout out to our man Smarty. All right, let's keep it rolling. Like button, subscribe button again. Helps us out a ton. Very much appreciated. New Orleans Pelicans taking on the Orlando Magic. Magic 2.5-point favorites. Lowest total on the slate, 216.5. No injuries on the Magic side to talk about. For the Pelicans, no Kelly Olynyk, no Yves Messi. 2 front court guys. Messi got hurt yesterday, right? Kelly Olynyk was already right, or 2 days ago?
2 days ago.
2 days ago, he got hurt mid-game?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess jump right into that. I guess sorting it by ownership, you can still see it's Magic. They will be more popular than these Pelicans. The Carlo Makovich thing, too, he went to the bench when we expected him to start. Still had a solid game, but what do you think that's going to look like? And then someone already asked, can you play Paulo and Franz together? I think so on this 5-game slate. I wouldn't make the rule away, but you're the expert, so what do you think on that as well?
Yeah, that was one of the things that I wrote when I did write up the Paulo and Franz stuff. I'm not going to make a rule against them. I want a fair share of each of them, but it's really just a coin toss. just because like the roles it's so tough to dictate or to like guess which guy is going to be the one to go off. You could try to get into the matchup stuff. There you go. Yeah, soccer. But like the role is like damn near identical. They both have a 29% usage rate. This is like like the numbers where they share the court together. 29% usage rate, right around 10% rebounding rate. I think Franz is like 1.06 fantasy points per minute. Paulo 1.15, so slightly better there. Paulo does have the better assist percentage at 25%. So like the role is slightly better for Paulo, but like usage and fantasy production standpoint, they are damn near identical. So I'd be lying to you if I told you I knew which one was going to be the one to go off. They both have a really good matchup tonight. Like the Pelicans have been a little bit better defensively in the second half of the season, but still one of the worst rim defenses in the league. And now you're going to be without Missy, which I don't necessarily know is like, I don't think that's really much of like a bad thing. But you're really not replacing him with guys that are much better. It's going to be Karlo Makovic projected to start, but it could be Mo Bamba. I don't think either of those guys are very good defenders. So yeah, matchup wise, I would say I slightly lean Franz, but I have interest in both those guys. Matchup's really good for both of them. Cole Anthony at 4.9K. There was some debate in him this morning. I didn't really catch up on it, but I think he's still a fine option. Played 31 minutes in back-to-back games, showing a lot better minutes, floor, ceiling. And then 2 of his last 3 games, 49.5 DK points, 33.5 DK points. He's right around 1 fantasy point per minute producer this season while sharing the court with both Paulo and Franz. So he's a pretty solid value option tonight in a really good matchup because he's going to be guarded by CJ McCollum, assuming that CJ or Jose Alvarado is not starting. So yeah, I like Cole Anthony tonight. One of those guys that I mentioned at guard that is really strong. Like, why wouldn't it really be considering a Kevin Porter Jr. over Cole Anthony or like a Trey Jones? We'll talk about later. And then Wendell Carter Jr., very streaky, but he's run away with the starting center job. I mean, it's weird. Like, I don't know why they have gone so far away from Goga when he was playing so well this season. I know that he had like the concussion injury that held him out for a while, but they never really even tried to get him back to starting lineup. And I feel like they could. I mean, they got to change something up there because the offense for the Orlando has been so bad this season. Even adding Paulo and Franz back to lineup should have been so bad. I think they really missed the mark in the free agency. I know, like earlier when we talked, like before the season started, talking about KCP signing there. I thought that was a good signing, but there's just no they don't have any other guys that can stretch the floor. It's just been really bad for Orlando. But with that being said, like Wendell Carter Jr. is still starting, still playing all the minutes. Really good matchup with the Pelicans being the second worst rebounding team, second worst rim defense, second worst DVP versus centers, bottom 4 rebounding team. So Wendell Carter Jr. really strong option tonight.
What do you think about maybe playing Jonathan Isaac more than 15 minutes?
He just can't though. Like he's not capable of doing it.
He just can't breathe.
It's that, or he's just if they give him 4 more minutes, like there's probably a 100% more of a chance that he gets injured.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like anytime they try to give him more minutes, he gets injured.
Yeah, how can you play 17 minutes? Yeah, I mean, definitely. All right, keep it rolling the other side. The less appealing side for sure. Do you already Pelicans?
No, I'll hit on that quickly. Well, I mean, I think it's a little bit more appealing. I think that even though this game environment is really bad from just a game total perspective, like Orlando has been struggling on defense, mainly with the rim defense. I never really thought that Wendell was very good as a rim protector. Remember when he was in Chicago, it was kind of a thing to attack him. And Zion, man, I mean, he has been looking really good. Played 30-plus minutes in 3 of his last 7 games, so he's capable of doing it. The cardio is coming back a little bit. But he did put up his second career triple-double, and I feel like I've been waiting last couple of years for Zion to kind of put up these types of performances just because all the numbers that you're looking at, like all the advanced stuff, like the rebounding rate, assist rate, all those things kind of point to him being this type of player long-term. Now, it's a really expensive price tag, but I still think that there's a little bit of upside for him. You take away Missy off the court, he does see a slight rebounding boost, but the usage and assist numbers are just wild. 32% usage rate, 44% assist percentage, and he has a 1.82 fantasy point per minute production. So it's very, very strong numbers. It is a slightly smaller sample size, like 150-ish minutes. But so you can take it with a grain of salt. But there's clearly still upside for him at this price tag, and he's going to be low owned again, which is something I'm okay leaning into a little bit if he does see slightly more minutes than usual. And maybe we luck into a situation where, 1 point spread, like we get overtime and we get 34 or 35 minutes from Zion instead of 31. So yeah, I do have interest in Zion. Not a ton of interest in the Trey Murphy, CJ McCollum range. If I had to choose one, I slightly lean CJ just because I think matchup is slightly better for him. Orlando a little bit worse against pick and roll guys. Trey Murphy kind of, I don't know, he's kind of come back down to earth a little bit last couple of weeks. And the price is still way up there. So I'd probably prefer CJ, but don't really think I'll get to much of either of them. Same thing with Alvarado. I mean, I'm okay with him, but you are comparing him to some of the better value options in that same range. And then Carlo Makovic, assuming he's starting, I think he'd be very, very strong option, even in a bad matchup, hypothetically. But he's been very solid as a starter this season. I mentioned this last time we did a show, 30 minutes per game as a starter, 30.2 DK points per game. If we do get a situation where Mo Bamba is starting, it is a revenge game for him. If we do get that situation where it's Mo starting, I kind of think that he's just like a lock almost. Like
smash.
Yeah, like you just play him and just don't look back is what I think.
I agree with that.
Yeah, just even if he gets 20 minutes, I think that's still plenty for him to pay off a 3K price tag.
What does that do for Carlo? Oh, I'm sorry. Keep going.
I was just gonna say, if that 20 number becomes 25, he gets those guaranteed rotations in each half, then yeah, I was gonna say he's like a lock almost.
Yeah. What would that do to Carlo if Bamba was starting and Carlo was off the bench? Still enough minutes for him to get there?
For Carlo?
Makovic, yeah. 4.2.
Yeah. It'd probably be like a 24-24 split, I would imagine. Yeah, I think there's still a lot less.
Group him away?
Yeah, I probably would.
Even at these prices. I like Bruce Brown. I always like Bruce Brown when he's starting to get some minutes. Peripheral guy. Solid price, 4K.
Go blow your nose, Robbie.
Bruce Brown.
Damn. I have nothing to say there. I think you just need him to start to play him, and I don't think that he's going to start tonight.
All right, let's move on to the next game. Switch up the juju before Rio goes crazy. Chicago Bulls 2-point favorites over the Brooklyn Nets. 230 total in this one. Noah Clowney out for the Nets. That's the only injury news there. Josh Giddey and Lonzo are doubtful for Chicago. Man, so if we go to Chicago and we sort by salary, do have two guys above 7K. Couldn't imagine playing Vucevic right now. Kobe White, 7-3, I think, very much in play. After that, nobody above 6K. John Collins pretty much irrelevant. So it's Trey Jones then and below at 5K. Looking at ownership, yeah, definitely some ownership on the Bulls, which makes sense. They're cheap. They're without their best player. They're thin in the backcourt. Net side, a couple of these guys getting some ownership too. I mean, we talk about Cam Thomas a lot. He chucks. No one above 7K on the net side as well. This is a game you can definitely go to for value and unfortunately won't be too sneaky. What are you doing in this one?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be playing a lot of guys in this game for sure. So I remember in Discord Gangrene had said the smaller sample size over the last month or so for Brooklyn, they've been trending down defensively. They have been one of the worst defensive teams post All-Star break. Still do a really good job against guards. They're one of the best pick and roll defenses. They just throw a ton of blitzes and double teams at guards, which you saw against the Lakers the other night. Why Luka had, I don't know, he had a ton of turnovers in that game, which is not a surprise. He had 5. That's about normal for him. But yeah, they have been a lot worse. Their transition defense is no good. The Chicago Bulls are one of the best transition offenses in the league, and the rim defense for Chicago, for the Nets, has been trending down. The Bulls have been getting a little bit better defensively, but they will be adding Vucevic back to starting lineup, is what it sounds like. One of the beat reporters said that he was practicing with the starters today at shoot around. And Vuce is a bad defender. I think it's going to make their defense a lot worse. But I do think also losing Giddey makes their defense a little bit better, so it's kind of like a wash there. But yeah, the prices are really, really good for Brooklyn tonight. And we're kind of starting to see the minutes normalize a little bit. For Cam Thomas got to 32 last game. D'Lo's been around 29 in each of his last 2 games. Same thing for Claxton. Cam Johnson's has come down a little bit, where he was playing a lot more earlier. They are kind of almost a play-in team. I don't really think that they're obviously not going to do anything in the playoffs if they make it, but they could still sneak in there. And the Bulls are right there as well. But yeah, starting with Cam Thomas, like you said, he's going to chuck. He's been playing pretty well since returning from the injury. He's played 5 games, leads the team in usage 34%, second in assist percentage at 29%, only averaging like around 30 DK points. But I think this is a spot where we probably see him surpass a number by a pretty good bit. We love attacking Chicago with guards all season long. Just the rim defense, transition defense, no good. And if Cam Thomas is playing 32 minutes on a nightly basis, like he's going to start hitting that 40+ DK ceiling pretty soon here. And I think it probably starts tonight. So yeah, love Cam Thomas as an option. It's nice that they gave him point guard shooting or a small forward as well. And then Cam Johnson, he's probably going to be going overlooked here when you look at there's 3 guys on Brooklyn that are probably getting 20 to 30% ownership. Cam Johnson should be a lot lower, probably in like the 10% range. But I mean, he's been playing really well as of late. He's second on the team in usage in the last 5 games with Cam Thomas back, and he's been right above 37 DK points in each of the last 3 games. The Bulls have been a team in recent years where they give up a lot of threes. Haven't really done that much this year. But Cam Johnson's kind of evolved his game a little bit more. Like when he was in Phoenix, it's just a lot of like a off-ball catch-and-shoot guy, but doing a little bit more off-dribble stuff and adding a little bit more of the peripheral stats as well. So I kind of have interest in Cam Johnson here. Same thing for Claxton. Like I have a lot of interest in him. It's a really good matchup. Adding Vooch back to the mix, the minutes have been very consistent for him, right around 29 to 31 in each of the last 5 games. The fantasy scoring has not followed it as much. Obviously, you lose a lot of usage and just opportunity when you're playing with Cam Thomas, but the matchup is really, really good for him. Bottom 3 DVP for this centers against Chicago, dead last rim defense, and then I like attacking Vooch anytime. So yeah, I like Claxton a good amount here, and then D'Angelo Russell. We do have a 50-minute sample with him and Cam Thomas this season, and which is small, so like take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. But he does see a pretty big dip in his usage, like a minus 8% usage rate decrease, and the point per minute production has been very, very bad. But it is a small sample, so I don't really want to overlook that or overstate it too much. But yeah, it's just a really good matchup for these guards. So I like D'Lo still, and the price is really, really solid. He's been capable of putting up really big games in not a ton of minutes, put up 51 against Charlotte, but I don't know like what the numbers look like from a fantasy perspective playing with Cam Thomas, like what the ceiling is for him. Probably it for the Brooklyn side. You could probably pair away Claxton and Day'Ron Sharpe and get a little bit of ownership or a little bit of exposure to Day'Ron, but I would prefer Claxton by a pretty wide margin. The Chicago side, so I think Vooch is okay, like taking some sprinkles on just because he has shown a really good ceiling at times, and we were paying like 8.3K for him normally. He only played 24 minutes in his return, but it could be closer to 30 tonight, assuming that he's going to get the start, which it sounds like he will. So I'm not going to X him out. Don't really want to get like an overweight stance on him, but I'd be okay if I have like 4%, something like that. Kobe White, one of the most popular plays on the slate, but it's definitely warranted. He's been playing really well as of late, so it comes into the game with good form. But you take Giddey out of the equation, you see a 5% usage rate increase for Kobe, 24% assist percentage, which is like well above his average this season, and averaging 1.2 fantasy points per minute. He's topped 41 DK points at 4 of his last 6 games with Giddey. And I mentioned the matchup with just the way that the Nets defend guards. But looking at the numbers, like assuming that he's going to be – well, actually, he won't be running the point, but they have been a lot worse against point guards lately. I don't think they're going to be throwing a ton of double teams at Kobe White because he's not the most dangerous guard in the league. Like he's not like compared him to Luka, it's a lot different. So they probably won't be throwing a ton of double teams at him. So I'm totally fine, even with the pick and roll defense being really good for Brooklyn. But just the usage is going to be pretty wild for Kobe tonight. So yeah, I think he's one of the better plays on the entire slate, and the field would definitely agree there. Trey Jones at 5K. Like I said, the Nets have been over the last 7 games, they've been the second worst team, allowing the second most fantasy points to opposing point guards. And with no Giddey tonight, we do have a decently large sample for Trey Jones. Modest 18% usage rate, 25% assist rate, just over 1 fantasy point per minute with Giddey off the court. But I imagine after tonight, those numbers are going to look a lot better. So yeah, I like Trey Jones a lot like I mentioned, like the point guard value is really, really good tonight. And then Kevin Huerter, assuming that he's going to get the start, he started one game for the Bulls this season, put up 36.5 DK points, played 34 minutes. So I would imagine if he started, he's playing 30 plus. And that's kind of all you can ask for somebody in the 4.5 to 4K range. And Matas Buzelis, last guy I'll mention, just with the way that the Nets play defense, much worse. Rim defense in the second half of the season, one of the worst transition defenses. I think there could be a little bit of upside for Buzelis tonight.
I mean, what a phenomenal breakdown. I don't even know how to follow it up. It's pretty clear with how much Rio just talked about it. This is the best game of the night. It is also the highest owned game of the night. Again, if you sort by ownership in this, plethora of guys over 20%. Well, meanwhile, you look at the first game, 2, 1 at 19, so I'll give you even 3. Lakers, Bucks. This game's getting some, but mainly just Luka Reeves, 2. Go to the Magic, Pelicans. This game probably the second highest owned game. Got multiple, but still not as high owned as Brooklyn and Chicago. And then this last game we're going to get to, as you can see, not a game people are going to play much. Pretty irrelevant on this 5-game slate. It is a late night hammer, though. Again, 2 hours after that Bulls-Brooklyn game. But most of my teams will have no roster spots left. If I have it, probably just 1, 2 max is how I'm seeing it. Yeah, shout out to Rio for the Bridges call. Indeed, both of them absolutely crushed. Rio been on fire as of late for content. However, it doesn't always turn out getting to the top of the leaderboards, does it, Rio? It's pretty
Definitely
tough
not.
out there. Pretty tough to win a $5 44,000 people contest, though, and take first.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, it's been I feel like the content's been decent lately. Definitely whiffed on some guys, but like Bogdan took it to us, huh?
Dude, the thing is, we talked about it on the show yesterday. Like, if you didn't have the 3, what was it? Rodin, it was Lawson,
Robinson,
and Miles Bridges. The thing with Robinson is, like, because he was 2%, I didn't say you need, like, third place team didn't have him, and they had someone without a snowflake. They had someone that could have scored 9 more points and, like, been fine. Robinson was like the 4th guy that you would have needed. But it's just so hard to win when, like, if you don't have those, Miles Bridges was the other one. If you don't have all 3 of them together on the same team, you're drawing dead. Like, you have 2 of the 3, great. And then the Jamal Shed game, take 52. Like, you just have to be so perfect, it feels, this late in the year. But again, I guess we talked about it yesterday. Everyone's working with the same thing. I'm just dialing back a little volume. Gets more volatile this time of year. Betting a little more college basketball, having fun with that. But, all right, last game of the slates. Golden State Warriors, 7-point favorites over the Sacramento Kings. 234.5 total in this one. Injuries on the Sacramento side. Sabonis questionable. Trey Lyles questionable. Golden State injury, or those Kings injuries. Golden State injury. Pods is out. That is it for them. Do you have a lean on Sabonis? Touch on that. And then, as you can see, ownership. Only 1 player projected for double-digit ownership. Not a game many are getting to. What about you?
Well, I want to bring up this comment quickly. I had to scroll back up for it because there's somebody in this game that has a better nickname, Jonathan Kuminga. But I won't say what his nickname is. If you know, you know. But yeah, Sabonis. Like I said pre-show, like I think it's just a little bit of gamesmanship by the Kings because Sabonis it was a grade 1 hamstring injury, which is pretty serious. This would be 13 days since the injury, or I guess 12 days. So it's slightly ahead of schedule for somebody that gets a hamstring injury that bad. So I was kind of expecting him to miss maybe another week. But this game does have some importance. There is a lot riding here in terms of like the rivalry. Obviously, Sabonis and Draymond, not the closest of friends. But the Kings, like they could definitely a win here would go a long way against Golden State in particular. So they might try to get him back. I would imagine he would be closer to like 60%, and then they give Joval a little bit more just because Joval has filled in pretty well for him. But yeah, assuming Sabonis is in, I don't see how you can get to any of these Kings really. Like it just takes away so much usage and assists and rebounding and everything. I would say the price is probably the best on Malik Monk, but like we mentioned, a lot of the times, like in these types of matchups where you need really good guard defense, his minutes could definitely be at risk here in favor of Keon Ellis. So I don't really want to get to too much on the Kings if like not really anything at all. The thing that I'm a little worried about is that this game does have a really solid game total. So there are scenarios where I could see there being some GPP winning scores on each side. It's just gonna be a little bit too tough to like. I would feel very uncomfortable having an 8.5K Levine or 8.3K DeMar in my lineup, knowing that Sabonis is gonna play tonight, especially in a matchup against Golden State, who's like, I don't want to gloss over that, but they've been playing some of the best basketball in the league over the last like 10 or so games. 9-1 over their last 10, top 2 ranked offense, top 5 ranked defense. So the matchup is not good for these Kings. Hitting on the Warriors really quick. So they'll be getting Jonathan Kuminga back tonight. You would imagine he's going to be very limited, like maybe 15, 18 minutes, something like that. It won't really take too much from like a usage standpoint off of the Draymond, Jimmy, Steph Curry guys, but I would imagine Moses Moody, who's been playing really well and seeing a little bit more minutes with the Pods injury, probably comes down a good bit. Maybe even Quentin Post, because they can run Draymond they're probably going to want to experiment a little bit and play Draymond at the 5, Kuminga and Jimmy Butler at the 3 and the 4, and then you got like Steph and I don't even know who the 5th would be, like Moody or Buddy or something like that. Maybe Gary Payton. So kind of lost track, but so hitting on the guys up top really quick. I don't like this spot either really much for the Warriors side. Like Steph is way priced up. I don't think the matchup is terrible. The Kings have been a much worse 3-point defense team all season long. Do have a 250-minute sample with Jimmy Butler on the court, 1.32 fantasy points per minute per Steph, which is not great at nearly 10K. But as we know, like Steph can still get it done in a really big way. Had a huge game against Orlando when he was like 1% owned. So the upside is still there, and it's a really solid team total, second highest on the slate. So would be okay if I got a little bit of Steph, but I don't really have confidence in him. I do have a little bit more confidence in Jimmy Butler, 7.9K. He's been playing a lot better as of late, played 35 minutes or more in each of the last 4 games, coming off of the triple-double. I think the matchup against Keegan Murray is quite good for him. Just I think that Jimmy can kind of overpower him in the post. So he'd be my top option on the Warriors tonight. And then I'll get a little bit of Draymond, but it's just not very enticing that he only has center eligibility. He obviously does a little bit of everything. 25% assist percentage, 12% rebounding rate, 1.08 fantasy points per minute. Not great for his price tag either, but he's going to be unowned, which is the only thing that I guess he's getting a little bit of ownership, which is kind of weird that people would play him over Brook Lopez. But I don't love this game. Basically, in summation,
this game's cheeks. Worst on the slate. 1 max and then call it a day. To be honest, my favorite probably would be Steph, because I'm just hoping for that Steph 65 burger, and he just absolutely nukes on national television at 9.7K. But by no means do I like it. The Jimmy stuff, I guess, way better value. These other mid-tier value plays, just all these 4 games are way better. Like you mentioned, the team total being good at 234.5. We also have a 234 in the first game, 224, which is relatively close, 230. So 4 of the 5 do have pretty good team totals similar to that. You think Sabonis plays? I will not have much of that game at all. Showdown content, I assume, probably pretty good prizes for that.
I haven't checked, but I would imagine, just because it's probably going to be a nationally televised game, I could pull it up really quickly. But thankfully, we have GoFi's in here giving us the probable starter report tonight. So got that.
He always said, he did that yesterday. I don't know why. He always says, this guy projected. Like, I don't know. I really got nothing more for this slate. This game's not good. Pretty much 4 games that lock within an hour. Brooklyn, Chicago, definitely the best game. People are getting their studs in this game if they're going all the way up top. It's either that or you go more to the mid-tier build there, which will leave Cade pretty low owned. That game not great, or not my favorite to target either. Injury news is big, though. Q-Tag on Luka. That's what we have to keep an eye out. Any final thoughts before we get on out of here?
No. I think we did a decent job breaking it down tonight. Have a pretty big slate tomorrow. I will be on the show with BJ. Nice hour lock window tomorrow. I got to go blow my nose, so I got to get out of here.
For Rio, who has to go blow his nose. I'm Titletown. Thank you very much for tuning in. Hope you all have a great night. Be safe. Good luck. Peace. Oh, I did mess that up.